Germany are out. Netherlands are out. Brazil are out before the quarterfinals for the first time in 36 years. These are not weak teams. These are squads built with genuine world-class talent at every position. Squads that arrived in North America as genuine contenders. And yet, they are gone. Sent home by teams that in some cases had no business beating them. So what is actually happening at this World Cup? The teams being eliminated are not losing because of bad luck. They are losing because of something structural, something that tells you exactly which coaches understood what this tournament demands and which ones arrived with a fixed idea and refused to change it. Because the 2026 World Cup is a different animal. And the teams still standing are the ones who figured that out before it was too late. The 48-team format is not just a commercial expansion. It is a physiological reality that rewrites how every serious coach must approach the tournament. 8 matches required to win the trophy instead of 6. A brand new round of 32. Summer heat across Dallas, Miami, Mexico City, and New York. Some teams playing at 72-hour turnarounds in 30-degree heat with almost no recovery time between games. The high press that defined elite club football for a decade is effectively dead in this format. You cannot press the way Klopp built Liverpool across 8 matches in this heat. The coaches who understood that adjusted everything before the tournament began. The coaches who did not have already found out the hard way. This is where the real story of the 2026 World Cup begins. Let us start with the team nobody was watching. Norway came into this tournament ranked outside the traditional elite. They had not been at a World Cup since 1998. Most neutrals focused entirely on Holland. 16 goals in 8 qualifying matches. Numbers so extraordinary they became their own story and obscured everything happening underneath them. But here is what nobody was saying about Norway. When they faced Brazil in the round of 16, Norway had nearly 70% possession. They controlled the tempo against the 5-time champions. They pressed intelligently in short, coordinated bursts, held a compact defensive block between those moments, and conserved energy with a precision that Brazil could not match. Ancelotti's midfield of Casemiro, Danilo, and Marquinhos was exposed as too slow to cope. Brazil had history, expectation, and a squad assembled for hundreds of millions of euros. Norway had patience, structure, and Haaland. Haaland had 30 touches in that game before stoppage time. 30. He scored twice. That is the tactical reality this tournament keeps producing. The most dangerous finisher here does not need the ball to win you a game. He needs 2 moments. You cannot neutralize a player who lives on moments the way you neutralize a player who lives on touches. Norway's entire system is built around that fact. Hold the shape. Control territory through Odegaard's midfield dominance. Find Haaland twice. Twice is enough. What analysts are calling trigger pressing is the tactical innovation defining this World Cup. Not a constant high press. A compact mid-block that waits, identifies the exact moment to press, fires the entire unit forward in a coordinated burst, then resets. You see it in the moments a team chooses not to press just as much as the moments it does. Norway have been doing it all tournament. And Brazil, Germany, Netherlands. All of them eliminated. All of them by opponents who understood that this format punishes fixed systems more brutally than any previous World Cup ever has. This is where it gets strange. Because the team executing tactical adaptation at the highest level right now is not Norway. It is France. And what Didier Deschamps is doing in his final tournament deserves far more attention than the Mbappé headlines are giving it. In qualifying, France operated in a shape built around how his players performed at their clubs. Mbappé dropping deep and pulling wide. Logical on paper, slightly uncomfortable in practice. Then Deschamps watched France's opening match, watched the spaces, watched what was not working, and after one game, made changes that a coach with lesser conviction would never have had the nerve to make. He moved Dembélé into a fixed wider position on the right wing. He repositioned Olise into more central channels. He changed Koundé's role entirely, pushing him into higher central positions rather than overlapping from right back. The result was a system that sat in a 4-4-1-1 out of possession and became almost impossible to mark in attack. Every defender who tracks one movement creates space for another. France scored 13 goals in the group stage. They became the first team at this World Cup to score at least 3 goals in 5 consecutive World Cup matches. The real story is not the goals. It is what this says about Deschamps as a tournament coach. He does not impose a rigid system and force players to conform. He builds conditions around the specific skill sets of his best players, then creates collective structure that lets those qualities operate at their ceiling. Mid-tournament. In competitive knockout football, by the time opponents have prepared for the France they watched last week, Deschamps has already moved to something different. Now look at Argentina, because Argentina's story is the strangest of all. Messi is 38 years old. He no longer plays in one of Europe's top leagues. He does not start every game. By every conventional measure, what he is producing at this World Cup should not be possible. 7 goals in 4 games, the tournament's leading scorer at 38 years old. But this is not happening because Messi is defying the laws of football. It is happening because Scaloni built a system specifically designed to make it possible. What analysts describe as a liquid formation, a shape that shifts between a 4-3-3, a 4-2-3-1, and a 4-1-4-1 depending on the phase of play and the opposition's block. Around Messi, De Paul is the tireless runner. Enzo Fernandez controls rhythm. Mac Allister connects midfield and attack. Alvarez presses from the front and creates the channels the midfield exploits. Every role exists for one purpose: to free Messi without making Argentina dependent on him. The football writer Jonathan Wilson described Messi at the Qatar World Cup as a ghost, drifting unnoticed around the edges of a game before appearing where nobody expected him. That was not an accident of form. That was design. Scaloni understood something fundamental. Do not ask him to press. Do not ask him to track back. Ask him only to do what nobody else can. And build a system that creates enough space for him to do it 2 or 3 times per match. 2 or 3 times is enough. Argentina conceded just 10 goals in 18 qualifying matches. The defensive structure does not waver under rotation. The system holds its shape regardless of who is inside it. That is genuine tactical identity, not a collection of talented individuals told to figure it out. A coherent structure that functions whether Messi plays 60 minutes or 90. The coaches winning at this tournament are not the ones with the most talent. They are the ones most willing to be uncomfortable. Most willing to change a system that is already working because the data says something better is available. Most willing to move a Ballon d'Or winner to a different position after one match, or build an entire tactical structure around protecting a 38-year-old genius for 2 moments per game. Germany trusted their press and went out to Paraguay. Netherlands, one of the most technically gifted squads in Europe, were eliminated by Morocco. Brazil watched Holland score twice in stoppage time and went home carrying their longest World Cup title drought in history. None of them adapted fast enough. None of them read what this tournament was asking of them and answered it in time. The quarterfinals feature the teams that did. Norway with their trigger press and a striker who needs 30 touches and scores twice. France with a fluid system that became something different after a single group stage match. Argentina with a liquid formation built to protect a 38-year-old long enough for him to keep deciding games. The 2026 World Cup is teaching football something the game has been circling for years without landing on it. The era of the dominant tactical identity is ending. Guardiola's possession football, Klopp's gegenpressing, the high-octane systems that defined elite club football for a decade. All of them assume conditions this tournament does not provide. Recovery time, training sessions to reinforce patterns, physical freshness to sustain intensity. What works now is the ability to read a game as it is happening and change it. To sit in a mid-block and wait for the exact moment to press. To move a world-class player to a position he has never played because one match told you it was right. To build a system so coherent that a 38-year-old playing in Miami can still lead the tournament in goals at a World Cup. The teams still standing figured all of that out. The teams watching it on television did not. And with the quarterfinals still to come, the tournament is not finished asking its questions.